I lost my job and I was partying a lot, but I always kept myself fit, reasonably fit. And it basically came to the stage where I made the decision myself. Like most of us that come from council estates, obviously it didn't leave me any qualifications, a limited work experience. And I was like, so what am I going to do? I'm going to join the army. And I didn't specifically go to join the army to join Paratrooper. And I was broke at the time, absolutely broke, so much so, I'm living in a flat by myself, just managing to pay the rent. And at one stage, it was like taking shelves of the wall and burning them for firewood,
Wow.
and fire. That's how broke I was. And like us all, the thought, if you go through that experience, and one thing was for sure, I was not going back to Belfast. And this is the mentality that I've had throughout my life. I think if you're the kind of person where you don't give yourself a second option, a plan B, then you can only take the plan A route. And that's kind of what I done. I was like, so I moved out of Belfast. I spent 3 years on my own. I was like, I'm not going back to Belfast. People were probably expecting me to go back. And I was like, I'm not going back. And I carried that attitude on when I joined the army. So I go into the careers office, and I'm sure your listeners have heard this, power guys as well. I've probably heard this and can relate to this story. I basically walked in and went, what's my options? And they were like all the recruiting offices. You've got the recruiting sergeant that clearly wants you to go and join his regiment. And that the case of me, it was the Irish Guards. So the guy walked in, and I remember standing there, and this is honestly true. I remember looking at the wall, seeing a guy in a parachute and going underneath an extra. I think when I joined, it was like £3.50 a day, para pay. And I was like, he was talking to me about how great the Irish Guards were. And I was like, what's that all about?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you don't want to do that. I was like, yeah, fucking do.